Do you want to lose fat mass, gain lean muscle mass, improve performance, all while getting to eat potato chips before bed? Well then, carb backloading may just be the diet for you. No crazy supplements or diet pills required.
To start this diet, you will first have about 10 days of preparation. The first 4 days is carb depletion. You wipe out your glycogen reserves. Expect to lose weight, 60% water and the rest fat. The next 3 days is ketone buildup. Ketones now cover energy needs. Ketone production reaches its peak at day 6. Expect mental fatigue. The last 3 days is fuel reorientation. The body begins to adapt to life without carbs. The worst of the diet is over. We can now start carb backloading. There are 5 main rules to carb backloading. The first is to shift calories to later in the day. Eat lighter during the day and feast at night. Skipping breakfast may be best. Breakfast dictates the metabolic status for the day. When you wake up, insulin is low. Cortisol elevates through the night and peaks around 7 a.m. Cortisol is catabolic. It breaks down triglycerides into free fatty acids. Cortisol accelerates fat burning if nothing interferes, such as elevated insulin levels. Ghrelin is another hormone that controls hunger. It stimulates growth hormone release. The body releases more fat to be burned. Growth hormone peaks 2 hours after waking up if no breakfast interferes. The body is a fat-burning machine in the morning until we eat breakfast. So don't try to eat breakfast. 2 hours after waking up, cortisol and insulin levels balance and you can start eating, but try to keep carbs to an absolute minimum, not consuming more than 30 grams until resistance training later in the day. Try to train in the afternoon. Start ingesting carbs after your training session up to 30 minutes after. Continue eating carbs throughout the night. This helps to preserve muscle mass.
Okay, sweet.
It is actually quite heavy. Yeah. I like butter. Bread. Queso. Cheese. Hey, I'm Monica, and our group decided to do carb backloading for this semester's diet. And that first week, we had to prep our body by going into keto, which means no carbs. And that week was very interesting because although My concentration was a lot lower, and I felt present during class, but my head was not there. I had so much energy, but then at night I couldn't fall asleep. And the next morning I felt like I didn't get enough sleep, but again that burst of energy came back and I was like a whole new person. So that first week of no carbs, thank goodness it was only 1 week, because I pity the people who had keto diet the entire month. I wouldn't be able to last. Thankfully, by the second week, we were allowed to eat carbs after we work out, which was in the middle of the day was our workout, and then after our workout, we got to eat all the junk that we can fit into our bodies. So that was probably the funnest part. I was waiting in anticipation for the day that I could eat carbs, not knowing that week number 2 was going to be the hardest week of the entire diet. Carb backloading began week number 2, and that was probably the worst week of my entire life. There was absolutely no energy for me to even run a quarter mile. I had chest pain. I had to push myself that hard to run a quarter mile that I got chest pain. I couldn't lift a weight for my life. But around week number 3, that's when I started feeling those bursts of energy when I would lift weights, and I PR'd by 20 pounds that week. A few people noticed a little bit of weight loss, but my mood was shot. I felt so depressed, unmotivated. I had to force myself to go to the gym. Even though I saw improvements and I was able to lift more, that wasn't enough motivation. The only thing that got me to go to the gym was being able to eat carbs afterwards. It was hard to increase weights week number 4. Probably for 2 weeks, I just plateaued and I just could not lift any heavier. And it was only until week 5, or week 6, I mean, that I was able to break through and PR once more. Week number 5, I ran a mile for the first time in 9 minutes and 15 seconds, which is hooray for me. And I was running around 7 miles per hour, and I only felt fatigued halfway through lap number 8. Oh, not 8. Lap number 3. That's way too long of a mile. Lap number 3, I started to feel fatigue. So that fat metabolism really was working. So of course I wanted to beat that. So my last week, week number 6, I ran a mile in 8:30, which is probably the best I'll ever do. I mean, I'll keep trying to get better, but now since the diet is over, my body will probably switch to a different fuel source, and I won't be able to do it. But that was really exciting. 8 miles per hour, running that fast for that long without feeling fatigue until more than halfway through the mile. That was impressive for me. And so in conclusion, this diet, I discovered things about myself I never knew. I decreased 3% in body fat, which is also exciting. Still a lot further to go, but this is just the beginning. Who knows, maybe next year I'll decide to do this diet once more. But for now, I like eating waffles with syrup and sugar in my coffee for breakfast, so maybe not anytime soon.